Welcome. Today's topic is what's new in Totara 9. My name is Dr. Tammy Frame and I'm the Chief Education Officer of eClass for Learning. This is my contact information. We are recording today's session, so afterwards you will be receiving a link to the recording. And in that email, I will also have my contact information. If you are unable to join us live today, feel free to send me any questions, comments, or suggestions for future webinars, and I will be happy to answer those. Today we are using Gotowebinar as our platform. You should see an area that says questions that you can expand and add questions to. Feel free to do that throughout the webinar. I welcome questions. It always makes the session a lot more fun and interactive. So please do that if you are joining us live today. eClass for Learning provides e-learning solutions. And so some of the things that we provide is we support a variety of LMSs, and we can help you choose one that's best for your needs. We can assist with course development. We can provide professional development on best practices for e-learning. We can provide e-commerce solutions, hosting, marketing help if you're trying to sell courses online, as well as training on the various software that we support. Okay, with that, I am going to leave our PowerPoint and go straight to our Totara 9 site. So one thing that you might notice is that there's an improved look and feel to Totara 9. And there's kind of a different top level navigation that's slightly different. An improved default dashboard, and I'm in the dashboard right now, and it's moving towards a more modern design and an improved user experience. Some of the things that you'll see in the dashboard is there is now a last access block that shows the last course that you have used. And now I'm becoming quite used to it, and I actually depend on that quite a bit, so I'm learning to like that one. There used to be a My Learning tab up here, and that isn't up there anymore. Record of Learning was underneath the My Learning tab. It's its own tab now. And instead you have a My Learning block right on your dashboard. And that allows you to access your learning plans, any bookings for any face-to-face events, and a record of learning link here as well. Okay. Another thing that you can't see as well, but Totara has made further improvements in accessibility and the use of screen readers. And they've done this by removing HTML-based tables and labels for links, and improving labels for links, images, and menus. And so those can be picked up much better through a screen reader now. So those are some improvements to the look and feel of Totara. And maybe the next feature that I want to show is the seminar. Seminar in previous versions was called the face-to-face, learning. And now it's called a seminar. And that has to do with live events that you want tracked through the system. And Totara kind of has an event management system called Seminar that allows you to have signups and to track attendance and have that show up on a user's record of learning, for example. And so what they have done now is if you go to Site Admin, there's now seminars up here where it didn't before. And there are some quick things that you can get to right from the site admin. So you can get a quick embedded events report. So any face-to-face events would show up here. You can filter it and search it. You can export it in a variety of formats. You can get to any of the settings that might go with the event management at the site level real quickly. You can also get to how the activity will work for the site, and you can get to those settings. The defaults for the event are some more settings that can be set at a site level. And custom fields is new for seminars. So if there are additional fields you want to add, you can have a checkbox, a date and time, a file that's uploaded, a location field, menu of choices. That's kind of neat where they could choose different things. Multi-select, text area, text input, and URL are types of fields that you can add now. So that's pretty exciting. There is also, let's see, I like this one. It shows at one glance all of the notifications, because there are quite a few that go with the seminar. And so you can just click on the settings and you can customize these. And this is kind of where the mail merge would have, but you can change the wording and the look of it as you would like to. So that's kind of real handy. There's a report, an embedded report of the rooms. So if you're a facilities manager and you're trying to see what rooms are available. And assets. Assets are new too. Assets have to do with learning assets that you might upload or link to that have to do with that seminar. Okay. I have also noticed that in the report builder, so let's just go there. Totara, if you're new to it, has a built-in report builder where you can customize your own reports and determine what data is going to roll up, who's going to see it, when they're going to see it. So when you go to Site Admin, Manage Reports, these are reports that I've made that I was playing with. These are all of the embedded reports that come with Totara. So much of the Totara platform is an embedded reports that you're seeing. You can click on these things and you can change them and customize it to almost customize the whole platform to how you want things viewed. So that's pretty exciting. But down here is where you would create a new report and you would name it. But there are some more options now related to seminar in here. So there's seminar asset assignments, seminar assets events, seminar interests, seminar room assignments, seminar rooms, sessions, sign-in sheet is a new one where you can see that one, seminar sign-ups. So you can run all of these reports and customize them through the report builder now, which is pretty exciting. And then you can pick out what fields you want from the database and so on. So seminar, I think Totara is really starting to see how important seminars are to its clients and really working on developing that further. Are there custom field variables that can be included in the email notifications? Let's try that, Charity. This is fairly new to me too. I've never thought of that, but that could work out. So let's try it. So let's go to Site Admin. Excellent question. Let's go to not reports, but seminars. I have to get used to this. Let's go to custom fields and let's just make one. And I'm going to call this one a text area. And I'm going to call this practice custom field so we can find it. I'll call it the short name. Anything that has a red asterisk has to be filled in Totara, so I'll just name it the same for the short name. Okay, I'm just seeing if there's anything that we would need. Show exports and lists. Okay, so let's go to our notifications now and see if we can get that to show up and be merged in there. That's a really good question. And let's go to notification templates and just look at one. Sure. And let's see if there's anything in here. I'm wondering if we can add in here, this is how, if it works, where I think we would do it. Looks like we would do bracket, practice, custom. And I'd have to get that exactly like the short name. Okay. Custom. And I'm going to think that it's going to take it, but it would have to match that short one. Save changes. And then I'd almost have to test it and get it sent to me to see if it works. So I'll have to test that and get back to you. But I think that's how that would work. And as long as you have in brackets the custom field name the same, and you might, just to make it easier on yourself, maybe on the short name, have it no spaces, all lowercase, because it looks like it's looking for that. And as long as that matched the short name, I don't see why it wouldn't be in the notifications. But I'll have to set up a seminar and have it emailed to me and see if that actually works. I'm going to guess that it would, because it's now a field in there, so it's just calling that out of the database. So I think that's a really interesting question, and after the webinar I'll try and have one emailed to me and see if it worked. I like that though. Okay, so very exciting that we can add those custom fields, and I think I have tested custom fields in the report builder too. And so they do show up when we're in the report builder as things I can choose to have a column, which is pretty exciting. So if I added some custom field and then I wanted that to be reported out or filtered out, it would work. I have done that piece. So I think that it would work in the notifications too. Excellent question. Okay. Another addition is in the dynamic assignment of learning plan templates. And just a reminder on learning plans are individual, so you can't push out an entire learning plan to a group of people, but you can push out now a learning plan template to an audience. And a template is different than a plan. A template defines the workflow. So for example, you might create a template that says that the manager has to sign off on all learning plans. And then you push out that template that audiences can use that template when creating their own personal learning plans. And you used to be not able to assign a template to a whole audience, and now that you can. So how you would do that is you would go to Site Admin, Users, Accounts, and it's under Audiences. And audiences are any grouping of people that you want to create, and they can be dynamic or they can be set and static from a pick list, for example. And dynamic means that they would pick up new people based on some rules that you set. So it might be that any doctors that have that in their profile as a job would then be picked up and added to that audience. So here I have some audiences. I'll go to this one. And now Learning Plan has a tab where before it didn't. And again, we're not going to get to define what courses and competencies go in this learning plan. That has to be done at the individual level. If you wanted to push out certain courses and competencies, then you would be better served to use a program or a certification. But learning plan templates are often used for things like reviews, and people can put their learning plan together, and then if they want, they could have a manager signed off on it. So what you first have to do is go under, you have to go under Learning Plans, Manage Templates, and you can set up your template first, and then you know, it can say if there's end dates. You can say if it's going to include courses, but you can't pick the correct courses right now. That's done at the individual level again. So I found that a little confusing when I was first learning learning plans. You can say that it'll include competencies, objectives, or programs, but you don't get to pick those things out. Only the individual does. And then the workflow, you can decide what workflow you're going to get. So either the manager's going to assign it, you're going to have the user do it, or you're going to have a custom one that you created, and it'll give you some rules to set it up. So once you have set up your all of your settings, and again, these are just settings, they aren't the actual courses, competencies, and objectives, then it becomes a learning plan template. Then you can go to the users, the accounts, and the audiences, and you can assign that template for use to certain audiences. So you might have different workflows for different audiences, for instance. And then you would go to the Learning Plan tab, and you would pick out that template that you've created, and you have a few more things that you can set up for it. Okay. And it'll tell you how many people that are currently using that one that it would affect. So that makes learning plans a little bit more dynamic, or I should say learning plan templates. And so that's another added feature that wasn't in previous versions of Totara. Now another thing in Totara 9 that is new, that's a little bit different, is you can have multiple jobs now, okay? And so the way that this works is if you go under admin and your name and your profile, for instance, that's where job assignments are kept. And we used to call this position. And if you were using a CSV file, you might have called it position ID. But now it would be job, you'd have to put your job assignment number for job 1, job 2, job 3. And so their thinking is that you might have several roles in an organization as work is, I think, getting harder and people have more hats and positions to fill. And you might have different managers that are overseeing this. And it might even be just for a certain amount of time that you're doing a certain project or something. So when you want to add a job assignment, you click here. Here's one that I've added. So this would be job 1. And I used to get confused with the ID number. I thought that was the position ID number of the job itself. No, it's not. So you're going to have your primary job would be job 1, your secondary job would be job 2, and your primary manager for job 1 would be job manager ID. And they would also have a 1 in the CSV file. So you can match up those people, and you put, it looks a lot like the position used to look. And so you've got the full name, the short name, the ID number, and then this is where you would choose your manager for this job. And you could have multiple ones of these, and you could show where it is in the organization, what position, who's going to do your review of that particular job. And you can have as many of these as you want. So that works a little bit different. It's linked to your profile. If you want to add a job assignment, you would go to your profile, add job assignment. Otherwise, in the CSV, it's going to be like job ID number, and then you'll put 1, and then job ID, and you would put the position ID that might be in your hierarchy. And so that's a little bit different. And good to be aware of, because it does, especially if you're using CSVs, it can change things a little bit. Okay. There is now, and there must have been use cases where people needed this, and that's why things are developed. And by the way, at the Totara site, you can vote on new things that you want added. There is now an ability for users to share the same email. It's hard for me to imagine why you'd want that, but perhaps that is necessary. Otherwise, it wouldn't be included. So obviously enough people wanted this. So where you find that to allow that on your site, if you want that enabled, is you go to Site Admin. It's hidden under the HR import, and it's hidden under Elements, and it's hidden under User. Okay, and then let's see, it should say allow duplicate emails. If you do, for some reason in your organization, need that, you can now change it to yes, where that wasn't available before. Okay. Another thing is in more question types in quizzes to make it more interactive. So I'm going to go to my dashboard and go into a course where I have a quiz. And we'll go here. And I added a little sample quiz, but I haven't added any questions yet. And so when I'm ready to add those, we can see we'll go to add a new question. And these are all my question choices. And so before it had multiple choice, true, false, matching, short answer, numerical, essay, calculated, multiple choice, simple. These were all included before. These are the new ones. And you used to be able to get these by adding in plugins, but now it's in the core. So it's kind of neat. So you now have drag and drop. And you can have different things that you can have different words that you drag and drop into a sentence. So that would be with text. You could have different markers that are dragged and dropped into a background image. So especially if you're, let's say, in the medical field or science and you need people to identify different parts of things, then you could have a marker for that and maybe a image of the human body, and they have to put it in the right place. This one, images, let's see, markers are dropped into on a background image. So this one gives you images or text labels, and this one has markers. Okay. And so this one might be, for example, you might have a marker and you might say drop into Cleveland, and it would be an image of the US. For this one, it might say Cleveland, and you have to drag the word Cleveland onto it. Embedded answers. I think you could do these before. They're kind of hard. You have to put in text of what different variations that you would accept that people can put into fill in the blank. Random short answer matching. I believe that one was there before. Select missing words. Okay, missing words and question text are filled in using drop-down menus. So I have used the drag and drop ones before. The close one I've seen demoed. It's a little bit of work. I have not yet seen the select missing words. So those are some new question types that you can definitely play with and try. And that'll make your quizzes a little more dynamic and fun and game-like and just a different way that you can assess learning. So that's pretty cool. Another thing is you could have users upload evidence in a learning plan to show that they have achieved a competency or they already know something. Well, now you can have custom evidence fields. And that was useful to me recently with a client. It came useful, a use case scenario. So what the client needed is when someone got a certification from a third party, it generated from the third party a unique certification number, and we needed to keep that somewhere. So we opted to do it with an evidence custom field. And so to get custom fields added to your evidence, which are some users can upload to go along with a learning plan, you would go to Site Admin, Learning Plans, and Evidence Custom Fields is new. And then you can choose what kind of custom field you want to add. So that's kind of cool. And you might have use cases where you need that. Obviously, enough people had that they added it. The final big change that I would say for Totara is kind of a network thing. So Totara 9 supports PHP 7, as well as new JavaScript implementation. And what that means for you is faster speeds and faster and less memory. And I read one blog post where somebody did a speed test where they didn't have PHP 7. I think they were using 5.5 and versus 7, and they found it to be 2 times faster and takes 60% less memory. Okay, so they are saying from Totara that your speed can improve from 40 to 60% and memory can improve quite a bit too. So that happens on the server side. You'd have to be running PHP 7, obviously, but now Totara supports that. So that might be something for the network thing to let your network people know, and they might upgrade their PHP to 7 if you're running Totara 9. So that can mean faster speeds and less memory usage for you, and network people would like that. So those are some of the major things that I have found in the new release. Any other questions? The one was really good about merging into the notifications, the custom field. So I'll test that out and have it make sure my short field matches, and then have it emailed to me. And when I send the follow-up with the link, I'll let you know if that worked. I think that it will, because I know that it's pulling them into reports. So I bet it will into the notifications too. Great question. Anything else? Okay, I just want to point out too, we have a couple other webinars that relate to Totara coming up in the next month or two. So if you go to www.eclassforlearning.com and you go to our webinar site, from here you can sign up for, if you haven't already, Totara Basics, how to set up your first course. We had some people request that on the registration form. And again, if you have specific ideas for future webinars, feel free to put them in the chat or email me. We love those, and we usually take them very seriously and add webinars based on those. And then making learning social with Totara Social. Totara Social is another product created by Totara. It's a little different than an LMS. It's more of a collaborative platform. So let's say you're interested in preserving work that people have done and knowledge people have gained, and that when they leave the organization, nobody has that, and you want that documented. Totara Social would be one really great way to do that. And it's all about people connecting and co-creating content and collaboratively making things together. And so it's a pretty exciting platform, very social. The other reason you might want it in an organization is it's a lot like our social networking platforms, but that's public and everybody can see it. And some of this knowledge you might just want internal just for your organization. So it may be best to reside there, and that's why you might want to look at Totara Social too. So it's a pretty exciting platform and much more organic than a learning management system where you're kind of making decisions about what people learn. Here, the organization is deciding organically what they want to learn. Okay, just looking one last time. If you were unable to join us live today, I really hope that you submit questions. Feel free to do that, and I'd be happy to answer them too. I will do a little test of Charity's question of will custom fields, can they be added to notifications, and let you know when I send out the recording if that did or did not work for me. So with that, thank you so much for joining us today, and I look forward to seeing you at future webinars.